Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Three Questions with Andrew. I'm excited today to be joined by one of our early supporters, Robin from Wallace Dry Goods in Pennsylvania. So Robin, welcome.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
Likewise. Let's start out of the gate. Just do a quick intro. Tell us who Robin is.
Yeah, so my name's Robin Cummiskey. I own Wallace Dry Goods. We're a non-alcoholic bottle shop right outside of Philadelphia in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. We just celebrated our first year at the beginning of January this year, and it's been an incredible ride. I feel really lucky to be a part of, this group of such incredible people.
Absolutely. Well, we are all thankful you're there and all the things you do as someone being vocal for our industry. Let's jump right in. Question one.
Great.
So you just celebrated a year. What brought you into mindful drinking, interest in non-alcoholic spirits, beverages, all the things? And what after this year kind of keeps you excited about being in the space?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I have had an on again, off again relationship with alcohol for decades at this point. And one of the biggest challenges for me in really stopping was I felt like I was missing the adult experience. You go out to a bar or you go have even like you're going to dinner and you have seltzer water or I don't know, a Shirley Temple or whatever it is, it's served in a pint glass, no matter what, what you get. And I missed the feeling like an adult and having something interesting to drink. So when I was seeing, more and more brands come out that were, some mimicking alcohol, others just providing like interesting layers of flavors to drink, I was really excited about one, discovering them because that really helped me stop drinking. But two, I felt like it was a really great access point for others who do still drink and want to continue to drink to have some respect and excitement around the non-alcoholic space too. My background has always been in retail too. I was more on the fashion and accessory side of things. But I was looking for a new opportunity for myself. I wanted to be able to combine my passion for retail with my passion for these products, and to create a space that would welcome, everybody, whether you drink alcohol or not, to come in and explore and ask questions and to try different things. But honestly, that was one of the things you guys as a brand were one of the first people to introduce me to the idea of like, you can have alcoholic and non-alcoholic spirits in the same drink. If that's what works for you, this is an option too. And that really opened up the door for me to be able to explore for my customers. Like, I don't have to limit the shop just to people who don't drink. This really and truly is for everybody. And I loved that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. That zero proof for everyone concept has been, big for us. It's right. All of our stories, everyone I've met, right, whether you're producer, retail, bar and restaurant, right, advocate, it all comes from a personal space. And so I think being that as an origin story, creating spaces is always so thoughtfully done, because everyone knows like what it feels like to want to be included, like you say, want to have the adult part of the adult beverage, have something, that's just as good with all the care and craft. And so obviously, I love the way you think about the space.
Thank you. And I also too, it was really important for me to have a space that people felt taken care of in, whether you're someone that drinks or doesn't drink, someone that wants to share their story or somebody that doesn't. I felt like there was a missing kind of sensitivity chip in the conversation around people who don't or choose not to drink. One, asking why you're not drinking, whether or not you're drinking. I had an experience really close to when I was opening the shop where I was in a bar and somebody asked me if I was not drinking just because, or wanted to know if I was in recovery. And it was one of those things where I know it came from a good place. I know that person did not mean to ask such a personal question, but it was a really personal question. And so it really informed me in the way that I address my customers too, where, I want them to come in and if they want to share their stories, and many of them do, I would love to hear. But I also it's not a prerequisite. I don't need to know if you're drinking or not, and if not, why. And I just, I think products like what you guys are doing are allowing people to continue to do that. So I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. Everybody, right, should have the right to approach it on their own terms and
Yeah.
share right as they want. So, I totally agree with that. And I want to kind of leverage that to jump into question number 2, which is kind of based on your perspective, right? So you have customers that come in. What do you see in terms of things that they're looking for, products they get excited about, maybe the top questions they have? And I know you also have relationships with your bar and restaurant partners that are with you locally. What are some of the things that also you see in that space?
I think there's 2 very specific camps. There's the group of people that come in that are really just excited about interesting flavors, whether it's a product like Pathfinder or Farragaya, like they're just unique and a category of their own. So it's something that they can be excited about. But then there's also the people that really want a margarita. I want an Aperol spritz. I want, a gin and tonic or a Negroni. And I'm excited to continue to see that grow as well, because these products are able to match that. Like, are there subtle differences? Of course, because at the end of the day, there isn't alcohol in them. And that's part of my job, is to manage the expectations of the customers. But I continue to see that category grow, which will allow the conversation to evolve, where it won't be so much, are you drinking or not? And, restaurants are getting more and more excited about having a margarita and offering it a couple different ways, or, having conversations around how do you serve these non-alcoholic drinks, because they do want to put in guardrails so that they're not serving an alcoholic margarita to somebody that isn't ordering it. So is it a conversation to discuss, like, how do we name these things, or how are we pouring them for people? But I think the more that the products become just a mainstay on bars where people are seeing it, the less of a conversation it needs to be, and it can just be part of the everyday. And I see, it's little strides at a time. I'm not saying it's happening tomorrow, but I love, like, how many of the restaurants that I started working with for Dry January are still ordering with me now into April. And that's a shift that I've seen from previous years.
Yeah, I love that. I say, right, if a restaurant can, or if we get our brand into a restaurant in Dry January, we get the brand in for the year, right? When it's done right, they see, right, from a business side, right, incremental revenue. They see the customer delight lift that they get from it, and it sort of makes sense. And that, I love that. I love that January is kind of this proving ground for restaurants that maybe haven't, and then, right, they, for the most part, always way overwhelming, jump on board for the full year.
And I think for the consumer too, like, as they see it in more of the places they already are, whether they're the ones, ordering those things off the menu or not, it gives them permission to explore it and have questions, or to try it. Whereas previously it was, you had to go out of your way to seek these things out, and, maybe was a little bit of the opposite experience to what you and I are trying to create, where it's just an inclusive, you're not the odd man out asking the weird question. It's just there and available for you and your friends to try.
Yeah. And the other thing I like that you touched on is the customer education component, which is, right, always a big part of our space. But for us, we really talk about, and I would say it comes up with the whiskey, because us whiskey drinkers are a particular bunch, that what the product is and what it isn't, right? What it's going to have and what it's not, and what it's going to bring to the cocktail and what it's not. And so that forthrightness, that being upfront, talking about it, if this is a product of its own, it's chemically impossible to recreate that alcohol burn. It's got a flavor profile, like you buy thousands of whiskeys and bourbons out there, and so it may not be specific to one person, but it may be the most awesome thing to another person. And so we're really thankful as a brand to have, right, spaces that people can go, right, to try our product, to learn a little bit about it, ask those questions in a safe environment, and then, right, choose from there what they want to take home and experiment with.
Well, and I think there's also just in the world such a level of skepticism too, that me opening up these conversations with our customers and being fully transparent about, this tastes exactly like X, or this doesn't, but serve it this way and it's still delicious. It allows us to build this level of trust, so that when they come back and say, like, okay, this whiskey wasn't for me, but this is what I didn't like about it, and this is what I'm missing, then we can point them in another direction and they're still willing to try it. So, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but, like, a lot of this does come back to trust and empathy and letting people discover.
Yeah. I think I love that. That's creating a safe place for people to discover. That's really, in my opinion, I guess, a succinct way to say what you do.
Thank you.
All right, so let's switch it up for question 3.
Okay.
And this is a bit of a grab bag meant for those watching to get to know you just a little bit better. So it can be things like favorite karaoke song, weird food combination, hidden talent, word you always mispronounce, whatever you'd like to share with us so that we can get to know Robin a little better.
Oh boy. I'm trying to think. Oh, I guess food combination. I do love like a salty sweet combination. And I'm spending way too much time on Instagram these days as part of the job, I guess. But I did see somebody had a maple boiled hot dog from Vermont. And that's something that I think I need to try.
Maple boiled hot dog.
Right? Like salty, sweet.
Get that. I would say, like, I love a good, like, coarse sea salt on my chocolate chip cookies.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, that's cute. Awesome. Well, thanks,
Really.
Robin, so much for being with me. Thank you for sharing your insights and your story. Again, right, I really appreciate our partnership and our relationship, and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. And I appreciate your partnership as well. It's, without brands like yours, we wouldn't have the shop. So it's a great team to be part of. Thanks for having me.